Sam, breaking news as we've sat down here this morning to do this news video from the New Japan Cup semi-final event that's happening right now as we're sat here doing this video. A 7.2 earthquake has just happened. The event, as we're sat here currently, was delayed for 20 minutes due to safety checks. It's still continuing right now. If there is an aftershock, of course, the event, it will be called off, but bloody hell.
Yeah, I just went and had a look. So it was in the city of Sendai is where the event was, and it just seems that there's been a lot of stuff. I've been looking through Twitter of people, on trains and just platforms and everything moving and buildings moving. So hopefully everybody's okay. But it's scary. It's terrifying, isn't it?
For everybody apart from Tanahashi, who, while the safety checks were going on, was stood at ringside flexing for the fans.
I suppose they've got to just try and make sure everybody is calm and happy and hopefully as safe as possible. But the footage is. The entire building just starts going, and Jay White's like, I'm just going to step out of the ring. And it's like, wow. It pulls out and you see the whole room going. It's scary.
Yeah, it really is scary. So hopefully everyone's okay over there. But here are the rest of your Saturday morning wrestling news headlines. WWE are very interested in working with a UFC fighter. A huge name has been removed from the WrestleMania 37 poster. What could this mean? And a cancelled match has returned to the WWE Fastlane card. Find out which one in a little bit. Now, our pal Chris Van Vliet has been interviewing Ben Askren of UFC fame, and that fighting man Sam has revealed that WWE are interested in his services. And actually, last year, he went to the Performance Center to do some things.
Ooh. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, UFC is essentially as big now as wrestling was back in the day. It makes sense to have that crossover. We've already seen, Brock went off to UFC, came back, brought that sort of crossover appeal. Ronda Rousey, crossover appeal. Cain Velasquez, crossover appeal, although, not as much with everything that sort of happened in and around his injury and everything. So I think it just makes sense. I mean, Christ, we've had Tyson Fury, haven't we? So wider world of sport and WWE seem to like doing that quite a lot of the time.
Aye. But of course, Askren currently is gearing up to have his arse handed to him by leading Gary YouTuber Jake Paul when they do the boxing on April the 17th. Have you seen the montages that's been going around of Askren doing the boxing?
No, I'm out of the loop on the whole YouTube boxing thing. It's alien to me. I see little bits here and there, and I'm like, I wish somebody would pay me that much money to go get knocked out.
I mean, I like boxing, Sam. I like to think I can tell a good boxer when I see one. And I don't know if Ben Askren is just sort of playing mind games and like, oh, look at me, how bad I am, Jake. I'm going to lure you into a false sense of security. And then when the fight happens, left, right, coma. But he looks terrible. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on April the 17th. But let's see what Ben told Chris Van Vliet. He said, I went there, the Performance Center, in October. It was fun. They, WWE, were very cool. I left with an open door there. I'm running my Askren Wrestling Academy business, so I don't think it's something I would do full time, but I would be interested in doing a little something with them down the line. I really like them. Everyone there was really cool, and they run a really professional operation down there. It was awesome. So who knows? Maybe a one-off appearance, a little run here and there from Ben Askren in the WWE coming in the future.
There's only one way this can end, Ross, and it's Invasion 2, except this time they go into business for themselves, and it just ruins everything. That's what derails this one. It's them going into business for themselves. They get the names, but, it all just ends horribly.
Question for you, Sam, as we move on to our second story this morning. What do Bianca Belair, Edge, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Sasha Banks, Bobby Lashley, and Bad Bunny all have in common?
They're all wrestlers.
Correct. What else do they have in common?
Are they on the Fastlane card?
They're on the WrestleMania poster.
WrestleMania card.
Eventually.
Bad Bunny. Gee, yeah, my brain was like, he's not on the Fastlane card. It's early, mate.
It is early, but conspicuous by her absence on the brand new WrestleMania 37 poster is Charlotte Flair, who was on the poster initially, and then sometime this week she has been removed from the poster. But of course, the timing of this is very interesting with the entire Andrade situation. Andrade himself, of course, confirming the reports earlier this week that he has asked for his release from WWE. He's been rejected as we're sat here currently. Who knows what will happen with that situation? Of course, it's also interesting because on this week's Raw, Charlotte wasn't there, and it looks like for just everybody watching that WrestleMania 37 will see Asuka defend her Raw Women's title against Charlotte Flair. Asuka returned to Monday Night Raw this week, but no Charlotte Flair, so that's interesting as well. Timing, Sam. Couple of reasons that make this one a bit interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a situation, isn't it? With Andrade confirming that he wants to leave, and obviously Charlotte and Andrade are together. And I imagine that this, of course, must cause some level of stress in the work and life balance, of that entire situation. When you're with somebody and they're going through something like that, if you're with them, then you're going through that with them as well. So it's odd, and yeah, as you said, the timing's there, but we won't really know until anything happens, will we?
Yeah, I just hope she's okay. It's a weird situation, because she's also spoken in the press recently about how she pitched for her and Andrade to be an on-screen couple, as well as obviously having been in a relationship in their private life as well. It's just interesting how they don't want to do anything when it comes to Andrade and Charlotte, because I thought, with the look they have and the skills they have in the ring and the sort of the standing that Charlotte especially has within the company. It just makes sense, doesn't it?
It's crazy. I can't believe they didn't look at that and go, and rip their hands off and just run to the bank with it, because it gets Andrade back on TV, gets Charlotte into something fresh and different. It'd be win-win.
Yep, so I'll just hope that Charlotte's okay, of course, so we'll find out more next week, no doubt about it. But speaking about Monday Night Raw still, a debut has been confirmed for this week. Well, the next Monday Night Raw you'll see on Monday. Rhea Ripley is heading to Monday Night Raw. Finally, Sam, we've seen promo packages over the past few weeks. This is her brutality. She's sick of all the dreamers. This is a nightmare, etc., etc., etc. And now the in-ring, I suppose, debut is going to happen. But Sam, when people are saying debut, I don't want you to tell anybody about the February the 10th, 2020 episode of Monday Night Raw where Sarah Logan wrestled Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, no, that probably didn't happen. We're probably just misremembering it. Completely misremembering it.
But your thoughts of Rhea Ripley finally making her way to Monday Night Raw?
It's about bloody time, isn't it? Like it's Rhea is too good to keep down, and obviously everything she's been through following WrestleMania 36 on a personal level, she opened up about fairly recently. You can't help but root for her. She is, for my money, she's one of those people where the future of the company. As long as she stays there, she's going to become a mega star. Not that she's already not a huge star, but it's going to be big deal, super push, I think.
So the last time we saw Rhea Ripley on TV was back at the Royal Rumble back in January. She ended number 14 in the women's match. She lasted 39 minutes. She eliminated 7 lasses before making it all the way at the end, of course, before being chucked out there by Bianca Belair. Her last, sort of proper wrestling match, not a box standing match, because it was the last women's standing affair, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the ring with just less people than a Royal Rumble match. That was against Raquel Gonzalez back at the start of January. So, of course, we've just seen those promo packages recently. And with the Charlotte news in mind, and with this Rhea Ripley debut happening when it's happening, maybe Asuka versus Rhea at WrestleMania.
Can you imagine how hard hitting that'll be?
Yeah, especially Asuka now that she's lost a tooth and she's quite frankly pissed off about it, rightly so.
Just
and
a little
we
bit.
saw sort of shades of the NXT Asuka come back on this week's Raw. She just completely dismantled Shayna Baszler. So that Asuka against Rhea Ripley, we all know what Rhea Ripley's like. Bloody hell, what a fantastic match that could be.
It'll be unreal, mate.
And now, last night on SmackDown, I think a new match was added to the Fastlane 2021 card, and that is Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Sam, how did that one go down?
So Rollins has been having a bit of an issue since he came back. He's been rocking the suits, but nobody's been being nice to him because, he's a little bit of a completely horrible person, isn't he? But he came out and he was like, everybody disrespected me when I came back. They all walked off while I was, welcoming myself back to the company and all that. But Cesaro was worse. Cesaro stood there and listened and then walked off and humiliated me and just called him out, told him he was like a waste of talent, that he'll never achieve the things Rollins has achieved. And then to come down to the ring to shut him up was Shinsuke Nakamura. They had a little bit of back and forth, and Nakamura absolutely leveled him. And I swear to God, just hook it up to my veins. Hook it up to my veins.
Potential show stealer on a card that has a few show stealers, to be fair. Heading into this week's Raw, I couldn't have given less of a damn about Fastlane 2021, but after Raw and after SmackDown, I'm very much looking forward to the card now, so let's go through it in full. Of course, we have Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Jey Uso, who won that match, by the way? James or Edge?
Edge won the match,
Edge is the special.
We're still going to see Jay, of course, but
Edge is the special enforcer at ringside, like Mike Tyson, back at WrestleMania, way back in day. Then for the women's tag team titles, of course, we have Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks challenging Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Sasha Banks, of course, retained her SmackDown Women's Championship last night, didn't she, Sam?
Yes, she did.
I haven't seen SmackDown yet, so I'm just relying on you. Then on top of that, we have Big E versus Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. Then we have Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. And finally, we have Alexa Bliss and, well, not finally, sorry. Then we have Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. And then finally, as you saw in the headlines to this news video, a cancelled match has made its way back to the Fastlane 2021 card, and that is Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman.
In a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards match.
I was sat on the pictures video with Jack and Andrew this week, which is on the channel now, by the way. Go and watch it if you haven't already. Speculating that, because of course it was on the card, then got taken off. Did WWE realise it was supposed to be a WrestleMania match? Did WWE realise that nobody gives a toss about Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman? Or did maybe Shane McMahon hurt himself while doing a diving elbow drop off the top rope through the announce table and through Braun Strowman? What's happened there? No idea. But what we do know is that the match was removed from the card with no reason whatsoever seemingly apparent, and now it's back on there. So your thoughts on that, Sam?
You know, and like Shane always goes out there and gives it his best, regardless of, you know, what you think of Shane. You can't say that he doesn't at least go out there and try to entertain and try to do fun stuff and try to make the most of it. Braun is, of course, very similar. Go out there, smash, be the Hulk, and he's been painted green, so he may as well. You know, it's not going to be an instant classic or anything. I wouldn't argue, but it should still be entertaining.
There's only one way it can end, surely. After Braun Strowman was covered in slime, I didn't realise that Americans don't know the word gunge, Sam.
Yeah,
that was
what?
I learned that. Yeah, they don't know the word gunge.
Wow.
It's amazing. After that happened to Braun Strowman, surely this can only go one way with Braun Strowman just murdering Shane McMahon.
And then throwing him into, I don't know, like a swimming pool full of gunge.
Way I bring back 2017, 2018 Braun Strowman, who just lifted and pushed over big, stupid things. It's good stuff. But any more headlines from SmackDown, Sam, before we go?
Not really. Big E delivered a hell of a promo, just against Apollo Crews. It was sort of like a sit-down satellite interview, except they were on different sides of the arena in closed rooms. And then eventually was like, no, I'm not waiting anymore. Like, screw this. And he got up, took his mic off, got on a golf cart and went looking for Apollo. And then they just beat... They didn't beat the crap out of each other. Big E just beat the crap out of Apollo. Just absolutely did him in. Like, face first into the wall, into the floor, into everything, before Apollo made his quick getaway in the same golf cart.
That's the thing. That's a potential show stealer as well. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre speaks for itself, as does the main event of the night. Well, I presume what's going to be the main event of the night. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. It's a pretty stacked card, isn't it? And they've got the silly bollocks with Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton. So something for everybody on Sunday at Fastlane. So, of course, later today, Sam will be back with graded for last night's SmackDown. I'll have the WTF moments for last night's SmackDown as well. Tomorrow, I do believe a new tier ranking video with myself and Andrew is going live, where we take a look at all of the AEW finishers. So keep an eye out for that one. Anything else, Sammy? Before
There's
we
also
go away?
War Stories tomorrow as well. It's the regarding the ECW XPW incident, which is sort of like a weird little turf war going on between two extreme companies. It's something I didn't know very much about, but it's really interesting, so check it out.
Lots of content as WrestleMania season heats up. But I have been Ross Twaddell from Cultaholic Wrestling. He's been Sam Driver, and we'll see you soon.